guys, Olive here. In today's video, I would like to do a tag for you. It's been a long time since I've done a tag, but lucky enough for me, I was just recently tagged by the wonderful Britta Bowler to do the top 10 strangest bookish facts about me tag. I've seen a few other people do this, and I think it's absolutely hysterical. I think we all have those little oddities about us when it comes to our reading lives, so it's really fun to hear what everybody's are. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you about my top 10 strange bookish facts. The first strange bookish fact about me is that I can't just be reading a book. I need to be doing something with my hands. So I could be playing with my hair or flicking my thumb against my bookmark or leafing through the back pages of my book. I need to be doing something. It helps me focus. Maybe I'm just really used to multitasking when it comes to books because I am always doing something when I'm listening to audiobooks. And so I've become really accustomed to doing several things at once. Or maybe there's just something about this sound that just comforts me and drives everyone around me crazy. The second strange bookish fact about me is that I read a lot of nonfiction, not just because I love it very much, but also because I really want to be on Jeopardy someday. The third fact is that I really struggle to read Russian words and Russian names that have been transliterated. So they're in English and spelled out as though you were speaking the Russian. I can't read them like that. I have to go back and see it in Russian to know how it's actually pronounced. This fact is made a little bit less strange when you consider there is no one set way to translate Russian words into English, so you often have different takes on how to transliterate specific Russian characters. For a few of the Russian characters, there is definitely a typical way that they are transliterated when written in English. But for some of them, it's just kind of up to the translator's discretion, and since it tends to vary, it messes with my mind. I just need to see it in the Russian, please. My fourth fact is actually inspired by Britta's video. She talks in her video about how she loves cookbooks, but really hates to cook, and I thought that was so funny and ironic because I am the exact opposite. I love cooking and to a lesser extent baking, but most of my recipes come off of the internets, or they're a recipe that I have adapted from a specific restaurant and have written down for myself. I have a few cookbooks, and they are dusty on my shelves. The fifth strange bookish fact about me is that I am a binge reader. I will start a new book, read 10 pages, then maybe 25 pages, then maybe like 15 pages. And then once I am hooked by that book, I will sit down and read 300 at one time. I remember talking about this in the 25 bookish facts about me video that I did 100 million years ago. And I talked about how I don't like to start a new book. I much prefer when it's hooked me. And this is definitely a consequence of that. Strange fact number 6 is that I get a thrill of the chase when it comes to acquiring books. So if it's a backlist book, I really, really love to look for them specifically in used bookstores or at library book sales, or I try to find a good price for them online. Or if it's a new book, I'll try to hunt down an art copy of it. I'll see if NetGalley is giving away review copies of it. The only thing is that once I have the book, it seems like mission accomplished. And so a lot of books just kind of languish away on my shelves because the exciting part was finding the book. Stemming off of number 6, I get really, really excited when I find a book that I want in a used bookstore or at a library book sale. And I tend to not really care what people think of me. So in a not super, super obnoxious way, but definitely in an audible way, I let out a gasp or a little squeal if I find a book that I really want. So if I'm at a library book sale and there's a book that I really, really want on the table and it's in basically brand new condition and I see it before anybody else does, there's definitely going to be a sound like before I pick it up. The 8th strange bookish fact about me is going to require a little bit of explaining. I have said previously on this channel that I am a very auditory learner. It's just how I take in information best. It's one of the reasons why audiobooks work so well for me. But it's also a part of how my memory works. Anytime I talk about my memory on this channel, a lot of people ask me in the comments, how exactly does it work? Is it eidetic or photographic? And I can most easily sum it up by, I remember everything I hear. I don't remember what is said as much as how it is said. That is what helps me remember what is said. I listen to the music and the flow of words, and that's what makes them really stick in my mind. It is what makes listening to music in another language such an effective tool for me specifically to learn languages. It's effective for everyone, but it's really, really effective for me. I also have begun to suspect that I have a very mild case of synesthesia, because when something is said, I associate a feeling with it, or a number, or a color. There's just a very strong association with something else with the way that I'm hearing things, and that really makes an imprint on my brain. And so doing this channel has actually turned into a really weird memory propulsion machine for me, because I hear my own voice so much, and I remember what I'm saying about the books that I read because I remember the way that I say it. I'm so used to hearing my own voice that I can really vividly remember the books that I'm reading. So if I'm listening to a book on audio, it has its own music in my head that really, really imprints it. I remember a lot of the audiobooks that I listen to a whole lot better than the books that I read. I've talked about my eye condition previously. I absorb information much better when I'm listening to it. So I'm remembering the music of the book, but I'm also remembering the music of my feelings toward that book because I'm remembering me talk about it during these videos. It's really weird. So that was fact number 8, which is definitely a strange one. And it somewhat leads me into fact number 9 in so much as it still relates to hearing books in my head. And strange fact number 9 is that I never, ever want to stop subvocalizing. Steve Donahue talks a lot about subvocalizing, or hearing the words that you're reading on a page in your head as you're reading them. He talks a lot about how this will absolutely slow down your reading process, and that you can train yourself to stop doing it if you want to read faster. I never, ever, ever want to stop subvocalizing. I read a lot faster on the page because I'm used to hearing books faster, because I listen to so many audiobooks at such a fast speed, but I need to be able to subvocalize and hear the way a book sounds if I am ever going to have a chance at being a good audiobook narrator. And I really do fear that if I were to ever stop subvocalizing when I'm reading the written word on the page, I would stop hearing the music of the book like I would if I were listening to it on audiobook, and therefore I probably wouldn't remember it as much or have the connection to it that I do. Like, I cannot overstate how important it is for me to hear the way the book feels. And the last strange bookish fact about me is that my easygoing temperament tends to give me very, very specific pet peeves when it comes to books. I tend not to be bothered by the bigger things that you'll see typically in pet peeve videos, but instead it's the really tiny little nagging things that really get under my skin. For instance, there is my one pet peeve specifically in like newspaper or magazine articles where they will take one quote or one section of the text and make it bold and put it right in the center of all the other text. So the text has to kind of wrap around it. It's not like I don't know why they put it there. I do know why. They're trying to capture your attention in that specific piece of the article or that quote. They're trying to get you involved so that you want to read the rest of the article. But it just really bothers me. Is that not what a headline is for? Like, are our attention spans really that pea-sized that I need that to suck me in? And do you really have to put it right there in the middle and you interrupt my reading flow and then I have to read that quote twice? I don't like it. Yeah. Oddly specific pet peeves. So those were 10 bookish facts about me that at least I think are rather strange. I know this tag has really been doing the rounds on BookTube lately, and so I'm sure all the people who I would like to tag have already been tagged. So please, if you are seeing this video and you have 10 strange bookish facts about yourself that you would like to share, please go ahead and do this tag. I am tagging you. If you have any comments or questions about anything you've seen in this video or about anything in general, you can of course put them in the comment section below, or you can reach out to me on a variety of different places on social media. The links to all of my profiles are linked in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.